1 month done, 30 days, no boss, no alarms, and no meetings. And I've been asking myself a question I didn't expect to ask this soon. Did I make a mistake? Hi, I'm Anthony, and I was laid off at 51 after 19 years at the same company. And instead of looking for another job, I didn't. I decided to try early retirement. And this channel documents what that actually looks like, the real budget, the real decisions, and the real life. All right, so let's talk about some actual numbers. My total monthly expense is $2,000. That's it. Now, when most people hear that, they pause. Some don't believe it, and some think it's impossible. So let me break it down. My monthly mortgage payment is $515 a month. That's low because when I sold my first house, I used a large portion of that money to pay down the principal on my current house. And that one decision is why my monthly payment is so small and one of the biggest reasons I can live on $2,000 a month today. Housing cost is typically the highest expense most people have here in the US and why a lot of people move to cheaper countries to retire. Let me know what's the highest amount you've ever paid in either rent or mortgage payment. I'm curious. So the rest of that $2,000 goes towards things like food, utilities, auto insurance, property maintenance, and everything else. I usually spend about $300 a month on food. I don't eat out, I cook at home and actually enjoy it. If you cook, let me know what your signature meal is. One of mine is shepherd's pie. All right, so to me, on paper, $2,000 a month works. But before you decide if this actually works, there's something important that you need to know. When I was laid off, I didn't walk out with nothing. I have a severance package that carries me through January 2027, healthcare included. So right now, I'm not fully exposed, not yet. And that not yet part matters because this plan hasn't really been tested. Once that severance ends, that's when this becomes real. So now let's talk about the part that could change everything, and that is healthcare. Right now, I'm covered, but after January 2027, I moved to the ACA marketplace, and based on my research, with subsidies, I'm estimating around $5,000 a year. That's about $417 a month. Still manageable, but here's the part I keep coming back to. That number depends on subsidies, and that's something that I can't control. If those subsidies change or disappear altogether, this entire plan gets tighter overnight. I'm curious, what do you think about that? Do you think those subsidies will go away? Now, I'm not going into this blindly. I've spent almost 30 years working in finance, starting way back in 1999. I remember working for Republic National Bank in New York, and later on in my career, eventually becoming an assistant vice president at one of the largest financial institutions in the country. So when I look at these numbers, I understand what I'm looking at for the most part from a budget perspective. But even with that, there are still risks here. And I'll be honest with you, there's another layer to this. Right now, I'm going through chemo treatment, and one of the side effects is fatigue, real fatigue. So most days I need about a 2 hour nap just to get through the day. So when I think about this decision to retire early, it's not just about the number, it's also about time and about energy. And some of you watching this may also be going through your own challenges too, whether it's health related, finance, job related, or just life not turning out the way you thought it would. If that's you, just know that, this season you're in right now is not your final destination. You're not stuck here. There's still time for things to shift in your favor, even from where you are right now. You're still allowed to start again, even from right where you are now. If you receive that, let me know by hitting that like button. Now, even with all that, I'm not just sitting still. There are additional income sources I have. And in the next video, I'm going to break those down because this only works long term if the income side also holds up. But let me tell you something that I didn't expect. After doing the same job for 19 years, my office is still right across the hall from my bedroom. And some mornings when I walk by it, my brain still wants to kind of turn right and go in, because that routine, it sticks with you. If you've ever done something for years, a job, a schedule, a routine, you know how hard it is to just switch and turn that off. But I don't miss it at all. I don't miss my job, not really. These days are slower. I wake up, have breakfast, usually in the sunroom or out in the porch. I check emails, look at the markets, and just kind of plan my day. Then I spend most of my time outside, gardening, cleaning up, just lounging in my space. My backyard has become my oasis. And honestly, the days go by really fast. I'm so glad, I'm genuinely glad that the layoff came in the spring, because being outside, in my backyard, having that time, this is what I planned for. This is what I pictured my retirement being: slow, calm, and simple. And sometimes I sit and think about how I've even gotten here, because there was a point in my life when I was homeless. And now I'm here talking about early retirement in my early 50s. That's not lost on me. If you want me to make a video about how I went from being homeless to where I am now, let me know in the comments. There's a hymn that says, "When I look back over my life and I think things over, I can truly say that I've been blessed." Anyway, so right now, on the expense side, this works. But whether I actually made the right decision depends on the income side. And that's what we're going to test next. Here's the part we haven't talked about yet. And honestly, it's the part that determines whether this works or not. And that part is the income. Because living on $2,000 a month only works if I can consistently bring in at least that much. And that's where things get a little more uncertain. I do have income sources, but they're not all guaranteed. Some are stable and some are variable. And when you combine that with rising costs and healthcare, that's where this plan could break. So in my next video, I'm going to break down exactly where my money is coming from, how reliable it is, and whether this actually holds up long term, because my plan can fail. And I want to be honest with you guys about that. So subscribe if you want to see some real numbers, see some real decisions, and I'll see you in the next video.